here comes the embarrassing wait and the discomfort of waiting for somebody to come online. I do this every week and it never gets any less comfortable. You're just talking to yourself, waiting, waiting. I hope the bell goes off for you guys. Um, we'll just wait and see. But I know there's some of you that, oh, hey, how you going, Rebecca? Oh, hi, how you going? You can't go. I love that. Hello, Scott. How are you? Caitlin, you're too funny. I hope you're well. Susan, how are you? Hey, Teresa, how you going? I'm a little bit later today than I normally be. Lauren, are you piking off work again? Oh, how are you, Inez? Nice to have you on board. All very interesting, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's been a really, really ridiculously busy day for me today, and I have been racing. You're not even ashamed of it, Lauren. No shame. How are you, SS? Hi. Yeah, so I've just been absolutely flat out all day. And I just thought I've been trying to rush and have a cup of tea and something to eat between things, but it's been, yeah, they were big ones today, weren't they? I don't know. It's really sad because sometimes I can feel all the energies, but I can't quite express what they mean. And it was really like that today. It was like, oh, lots of things coming in. And I think it's just very, how would you say, maybe it has something to do with the planetary movements at the moment, but it was like all of this information. And I thought, I'm never going to get it all to you all. But anyway, beautiful readings. How are you, Joanne? No, Lauren. Nope. Not ashamed at all. I hope you're all going really well. It's such a funny energy in the universe at the moment. It's very, very anticipatory, can I say? Do you all feel the same? Like there's this sort of a, hey, Lenore, how you going? There's very much an energy of anticipation. I'm great, thanks, Joanne. Going really well. But this feeling, you know, when you're a kid and you're waiting for Christmas to come, or I guess when you're pregnant and you're waiting for a baby to come, but that feeling of like everything being on the edge, like this all anticipation thing. And that's how it feels at the moment, like something is about to come and we're all waiting for it. It's really, you feel it, yeah. So I think it's a really, oh, Scott, I'm going to go for another. I'm going to speak to the doctor tomorrow, but I'm going good. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's a very different energy. Like sometimes it's sort of an energy of knowing what's coming or knowing how you're feeling. But I don't know, at the moment, it's this sort of like this waiting, this feeling of waiting. I don't know what that means for other people, if you can describe me how you're feeling. But it was very much coming across in the readings this morning too. Moira, how are you going? Very, very strange energy, like we're waiting for something. And I don't really know why, because obviously we've been, tucked down or tied down with the COVID thing. I'm really great, thanks, Moira. How are you going? We haven't seen you for a while. With the COVID thing and everything that's been going on with it. And, I've been talking to a lot of different people and people going through very different things at the moment. And the coaching has been such a tremendous thing for me to work with many of you at a much deeper level. And I realize how huge the changes are at the moment. Hey, Jules, how you going? Yeah, that feels that way, doesn't it? Yeah, fantastic. Okay. So I had a dream about someone last night too. And it was really funny because all they did in my dream was tick something that they liked on Facebook. And I remember waking up and thinking that was a really strange message to come through, that somebody would dislike something I posted on Facebook, but it was the message I got. So I thought it was quite interesting. How are you, Sue and Stephanie? Lovely to see you on board. Oh, thanks, Sue. That's really nice. Thank you. I'm glad you are enjoying the readings. They're really intense at the moment. Yeah, the dreams are, I don't know. Jeanette's on board too. How are you, Jeanette? I love dreams. I do. I think dreams are fabulous, and I have some fantastic dreams. So I'll tell you about the dream I had the other night. And you can share them with me if you want to. I dreamed in my dream that I got a call from the minister of evil. And the minister said to me that I was going to be charged under Section 7 because had done a reading for someone that was evil, and their mother had complained that I'd read for the son, and I'd told him something that was really evil. So I was going to be charged under Section 7 for being evil. And I woke up and I thought, oh my goodness, that's just the funniest thing. Why the 7 came in, I have no idea, but the 7's not a bad number at all. But the fact that I was charged for being evil to that particular person, which was hilarious. Hey, Jody, how you going? Maria from Italy, how are you? You had a dream of the Leo, so we're all a wicked woman. I'd like to think I'm a wicked woman. Section 7, that's not bad. I thought it was so funny. And I don't know what started me off on it, but it was very, I got a phone call from the minister of evil. My dreams are so weird. You had a dream about a beautiful bird. Well, that's really interesting. I think birds are still messengers in your dreams as well, aren't they? The same as they are in real life. So that's quite beautiful. How very interesting. Well, it's funny, Lauren, you should say that, because my daughter said the same thing. She said, have you been watching Harry Potter or something? And I was like, I haven't watched Harry Potter for ages. In fact, the last Harry Potter movie I watched was probably, maybe about 3 months ago. My granddaughter was here and she asked me if she could watch. I have such a huge library of movies, and she asked me if she could watch one of the later ones, Harry Potter ones that she was reading. But no, I haven't been watching Harry Potter, but it did remind me of that, the Minister of Evil, Snape. Stephanie, you should have a look at that. Horses have got they are really about, getting in touch with your wild and free side. So that's a really good, cool one. The Master of Evil. That's how I felt too. Okay. That's funny, Sue. Dreamt he was stuffing your mouth with food. That's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. Scott, that's too funny. I'm glad it wasn't 666. Hey, how are you, Lisa from Florida? Lovely to see you on board. I'm still doing the 3 a.m. wakes this morning and yesterday morning. Both times I woke up, I made myself go back to sleep. I was like, I'm not moving. I'm just going to lay here still, just focus on my breathing. And both times I went back to sleep. But the only thing, hey, Queen of Water, how you going? The only thing with the trying to go back to sleep is I don't seem to really go into a sound sleep after that. I don't know if you do the same thing, but it's almost like you stay in that sort of very light sleep. So it's not really as satisfying. Yeah. Oh, you're on leave. Very nice. We should all get on here at 3 o'clock. We should have instead of a G's gang, we should have a 3 gang and all come online at 3 o'clock and talk. Yeah, 7's supposed to be a really lucky number. I did look it up and it was really beautiful. There's nothing wrong with number 7. And I certainly don't think of myself as an evil person, but it was just hilarious. Letting go. That's very clever, Scott. Very clever. Was really interesting though. So I don't know. My dreams are always like really sort of weird and fantastic. But yeah, the one last night, this person I know came in and just liked something. I haven't spoken to him for a long time, and he came in and liked something on my Facebook page, and I thought, wow, what a weird dream. I'm feeling good, thank you. I've got to go for another check. Probably tomorrow or Friday, just to see how things are going, but hopefully I'm doing really well and I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. You started dreaming lately. Your wheels came off. That's so funny. I hope that's not symbolic. How weird. Thanks, Queen of Water. Thank you. So I was saying to you, like, because I'm working with so many people at the moment with the coaching, I just want to say to you the amount of people who are awakening, and I'm watching people. It's so fabulous that I've got this opportunity. It actually makes me quite teary to actually watch people awakening, realizing, having these incredible realizations and these huge epiphanies, and being able to see the world without the mask on, with, being able to lift the veil and see things. And I'm watching these people do this right in front of my eyes, and I keep thinking, I am so grateful for being on this journey. It's so amazing, and so beautiful to see so many of you really discover who you are, really discover who you are. And I've seen so much of it this week where I've, just felt so honored to be able to help you walk yourself through the journey. I'm not really I'm giving you some resources, but I'm really not doing a whole lot. I'm just giving you guidance here. So, it's been so fabulous. Yes, I think the COVID had a lot to do with it. I think that a lot of people have had time. We don't normally stop, and we don't normally have time to really sit in an energy or appreciate the energies of what's around us or the messages coming through. And so many people have been put in that position now with COVID, where they're getting constant downloads from spirit and really starting to listen. And I watch people unpack their intuitions, like they're like, I can feel it now. I know what my intuition is now, all through just moving aside all of the clouds and things that have kept them hidden from view. How can you know if you've been awakened, Stephanie? You start to see things differently. Can I say that? That's probably the biggest thing that comes through. So for people, say, for example, that have had really tough upbringings or really hard childhoods, they start to see things as they really are. They start to move away some of the illusions that have been taught to them as children, some of these sort of fake ideas that have been bundled down on them. And I think, when you see people starting to say, I always believed that, and now I realize it wasn't true. Starting to move stuff away so you can see more clearly. So that's the way to go. Jules, you know what? I'd love to say back to you, and I'm incredibly honest and forthright when I say this. This journey is as much as mine as what it is yours. I learn from you guys every time. I have not got to a point in my life where I feel that I can't learn more. I still know there's so much more for this journey. I know that I'm nowhere near where I need to be, so I keep sort of doing what I need to do. But I learn from you guys every day. Yeah, losing friends is a bit sad. The other thing that people are doing is losing family, because they're starting to wake up to, thanks, Jody. People are starting to wake up to the toxicity in their own relationships or with their own families. And I think they've probably been feeling that sort of energy for a while, but have felt shame and guilt about being able to say, I don't want anything more to do with this person. So there's a lot of emotion that comes with unraveling your true self, a lot of emotion. It's beautiful because you're finding out who you are, but once you start to realize who you are, nobody on the outside of you looks the same anymore. And that can be really tough for people. But what I found is when people start embracing that journey, they seem to have better relationships, and the children and the people around them seem to heal very, very quickly. And I'd always known that Spirit had said to me, if you heal yourself, you're healing your past, you heal the future. And I didn't really understand what that meant. And I'm actually seeing that in action. And I feel that that is the most beautiful thing of all, is that people are able to really understand how their own karma or the things they've gone through from their own families and, their own lives has impacted even the children and the people around them. So when they start healing themselves, all of a sudden things around them start to change too. And I notice, I can see people manifesting. So they're saying to me, I've changed this, I've done that, I've cut this out, and all of a sudden somebody's offered me a job or an opportunity, and I'm like, that is manifestation. beautiful. By shifting that stuff aside, you know how to manifest now. You're going to manifest great things. So the more you start to shift some of the sort of, the clouds away, or as I say, peek behind the curtain a little bit more, you will start to understand how things come to you. You don't have to work for them anymore. Or you still have to work for them, but you don't have to work so hard for them. Exactly, Queen of Water. That's exactly what it is too. Okay. See you, Lauren. I don't know if you've gone already, but see ya. Yes, absolutely. Yes, very good. Yeah, and it's not really, I suppose, Scott, I'd like to think it was because of me, but it's more that I think sometimes when you give people see and feel things. So they see things and they feel things, but sometimes that confuses them because they're not really sure if that's right or not. And I get questions like, how do I know if I'm on the right path? How do I know if I'm going in the right direction? And I know that, if I'm there to say, well, okay, of course you're doing what you need to do, you just keep traveling in that direction. I somehow feel it's like giving people the validation or the assurity that what they're doing to change their lives or change their future is very much in line with who they actually are. So I don't know that I'm absolutely responsible for doing that, but what I become is like a sounding board for you to say, okay, this is happening, and I can bounce back with, yes, that's really happening for the right reason. Yeah, it's really very interesting. Sorry, is people still complaining about my sound on the YouTube videos? And I've been using YouTube, so and not much else I can do. Let me read some of your, the shifting of veil. That's what I always say. It's like you get, because Stephanie asked me before, and I think the way to see it is sometimes you get a glimpse of what things would be like if you were just completely in your sort of natural home-based energy. And sometimes we keep shifting the curtain and having a look, and we get little glimpses. But when you start to really pull back the curtain and step into who you're meant to be, that's when you've really released the past and you can let it go then. So it is about clearing out, absolutely. Let me just have a look. Amazing things have been seen. It's fabulous. I'm loving it. Past life karma versus this life. Well, I guess there are times when you have energies that you can't really relate to the people around you. So there may be stuff that comes through to you to fix, like past life karma. So say, for example, in this life, you've not been able to make a good living for yourself. Like money seems to come and go really quickly. You've never really had much money. You find it very hard to save. And it could be because in a past life you have been a pauper. It's come up before where people have been nuns and things like that, where they've really had no accumulation of funds. So in this life, they sort of find it really difficult to accumulate money. For some people, it might be, say, relationships, and they've never been able to have, a really solid relationship. So then it becomes a thing of, being able to shift your energy so that you can bring in the relationship that's right for you. So usually that's way back. I mean, it might not be past, going into many lifetimes ago. It may only be your grandparents or before that. But sometimes you sort of look at things and you think, people are really, you may have an issue or problem with relationships. I use relationships again. And you may have had grandparents who had a very solid relationship, but yet your relationships really do not work. And then you've got to ask yourself then, where is this energy coming from? Why is this not happening for me? And then it's very much about going back into your own life then and having a look at, is this something that I've brought with me from childhood? So then you can work out whether you've done that in this lifetime, whether the karma's been created from previous lifetimes and you've been born with that karma, or you've been born with that line, that ancestral line. But like I always say to people, it's fixable. Anything's fixable. You've just got to just be determined to really sort of dig amongst your background and have a look at what's been going on for you to really understand how things from childhood can affect you as an adult. And it's been evident with the work I've been doing. Shifting the veil, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, karmic partners aren't very nice. We've all done a few of them. Yeah, that's a beautiful, beautiful line, isn't it, Jules? Karmic justice, yes, definitely. cleaning out. True, been there, bought the t-shirt. Love it. Love it. You're welcome, Vane. Uh, yeah, absolutely. Karmic, the way karma looks in your life is usually it cycles. Okay. So if you're ever wondering what karma is about, it generally cycles through. It's not that whole, people have this attitude that it's, something where if you do something to me, if you kick my dog, then I'm going to kick your dog, or someone else is going to kick your dog. And it really doesn't work that way. So it's really about doing the best you can with your own life to create good karma. So if you're doing what you're meant to be doing, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to slip up every now and again and get something wrong. It just means you live your best life possible. But karma is actually made up, I think, of 12 different rules. But it's about what you put in, you get out. That's basically it. The reason karma seems to be, very evident for some people is there's a lesson to be learned and you're not learning it. So you keep cycling through the same lesson over and over again until you've learned you're not learning the lesson. So I guess what happens most of the time is we have this realization that we're doing something over and over again and it's not really bringing us what we want. And then we have to question, do we have a lesson here that we've missed? So, for example, I said to someone the other day, changing jobs all the time. You hear about people who've been really bullied in jobs, right? And they've had a really hard time in the job. They've been bullied really badly. So what they do is they might take out a court case. They might, sue. They might do some work with a counsellor. But at the end of the day, they decide the place is toxic. They're going to move on and leave the job behind. So they leave the job behind and thank you, SS. See you next time. And then what happens is you think, oh, well, I'm going to go and get myself another job. So you walk into another job seems fine. A few weeks down the track, bullying starts again. And you're like, okay, I'm being bullied again. So what do? Do you keep blaming the bully? Because the bully's not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're, obviously mean people. But there's a point there where you have to say, hang on a moment, I'm being bullied again. Why am I getting bullied again? There's a lesson here I'm not learning. And sometimes people do that time and time, move job to job to job to job and just keep getting bullied. So the question is, why are you getting bullied? Is there something that you need to have a look at or some sort of lesson there that you need to understand so you don't get bullied in future? And that lesson may be just around how to manage people differently. Maybe you allow people to get away with things and you don't have healthy boundaries. So the lesson may be, how do I put healthy boundaries in place? Or the lesson may be, what do I need to understand about myself that I keep bringing these people in? Because there's a lesson here for me to learn, rather than keep shifting and hoping that it will go away. And we all do it. Whether that's in relationships, our families, our friends, we keep doing the same things without realizing we're ignoring the lessons. Let me just have a look. Yeah, absolutely, Moira. Perfect. Yes, absolutely. Yes, and I always say that, Moira, it's like attracting the same person with a different face. So, people turn around and they say things like, I'm a narcissist magnet. And I'm like, don't be looking at it like that. You're not a magnet. You're not a magnet. You're just not understanding the journey. You have to understand the journey of the narcissist and the empath, or the narcissist and the codependent, or the people pleaser. It doesn't matter what you call those people. They're all the same. They're the ones that are sort of the opposite to a narcissist, but they attract to each other. But both have lessons to learn. It's just the narcissist will never learn because they believe that they are perfect. They don't need to learn anything. Whereas an empath will, of course, want to change. And that's very much goes back to childhood and being raised by people with narcissistic tendencies. So that will repeat because it takes a few times for most people to understand. However, I have a lot of younger people coming to me now to talk to me about that journey. So it's becoming much more evident that people are starting to understand that journey earlier and wanting to do something about it because the information's out there now. We're much more educated. Whereas for many of us, that journey has been a little bit tricky because we really didn't understand that until much later in life, because there wasn't things like YouTube and Facebook and gurus out there talking about some of the complexities within relationships. Yeah, repeated patterns. So you're missing something, Jules. Are you missing a lesson, my darling? Okay. Oh, Eve, how are you going? Oh, thank you very much. That's so beautiful. You're always so beautiful to me. The insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Absolutely. But the thing is, with the relationship, just to go back to the narcissist relationship, the problem is with that, when you walk away from someone, you believe it's you that's damaged. You don't really see yourself as being still very powerful and able to turn that around. So you tend to see yourself as the damaged person. And what happens is a lot of media and a lot of the information we get sort of pegs the narcissist as being the baddie and the other person as being a goodie. But actually, we have lots of lessons to learn there, and there's lots of behaviors we need to understand. So we don't get away scot-free because, sorry, Scott, we don't get away free from that, because what happens is we have a lot of behaviors that we have learned that's almost attracted the narcissist to us, although the narcissist does really select us. But the relationship between the two of you is so fixed on both of your behaviors and both behaving towards each other a certain way. And that's why when you meet someone like that, the relationship is very strong chemistry, very strong physical attraction, fairy tale stuff. It whips you into some sort of fairyland and you feel like you met the person of your dreams, and it happens very quickly. But it's all manipulation. So both parties are manipulating, but just in different ways. And don't forget, the narcissist, empath, people pleaser is not, or codependent, is not really not the narcissists are. The narcissists are standing to gain a lot from what they're doing, whereas the empath, people pleaser, codependent really doesn't mean to do damage to someone. They just want to love. They're desperate to love. So it's sort of like, they want to heal and get everything right, but the narcissist is a different story. Yeah, the younger ones are really being drawn. I've noticed that too, Jules. It's like they're really awakening in that regard. No, Scott, I think the next one's in November now. Well, because I said scot-free. Users, yes. So, there's a lot of things that we have to learn there. And I guess that's where, for some of us, it's such a difficult journey, because you don't really understand your own behaviors. And that's what really counts, is if you're doing the same thing over and over again, there's a lesson to learn, and you have to stop and ask yourself, what is that lesson? So sometimes, having someone to talk to who's spiritual is really good. And if you have a person who does tarot readings, or someone who's an intuitive, and they do offer you some insight into that, it can really help you develop in a very different way. And not everybody does that stuff, but I do note that on YouTube now, a lot more people talking about inner child work, which is pretty amazing. This year has been very crazy, hasn't it? It really has been totally crazy. That's a very interesting question, Jules. I like that. Jules just asked, is the passion I hold for healing, love and peace and looking for answers, is this the hermit journey? And I guess, yes, you could really take it that way, couldn't you? That really gives me a lot of food for thought. You've set me off on a little bit of a thought pattern there. But yes, I would say, yeah, in our own way, yes, we're hermits, aren't we? Because that's what we're looking for: healing, peace, love, all of those things. I'd sit with that one for a little while. Journey to enlightenment. Yep. And you know what? I said to someone this morning, the thing is, what happens too, and a lot of you will agree with me because you've all been on a spiritual journey. And I always say to people, you level up, you start to get, yourself in a place where you start to sort of awaken, you start to peel back some layers, and then spirit comes in and goes, here's a whole new download here. And you get all the download, but then you've got to shift stuff out the way, right, to make room for the new download. So you shift even more sort of stuff from your life that you don't really need, or your past, whatever it is. You start shifting all that out, and then they download you with more stuff. And the thing is, the more you start to download, the more spiritual become, the more vulnerable you become to people who don't have your best interests at heart. So the more you shine, the more you vibrate highly, the more you embrace the journey, the more vulnerable you become. So you have to be really, really, really conscious that if you are going to bring people into your life that don't have your best interest at heart, the more spiritual you become, the more they gravitate towards you because you're shining that light. All of this, yes, all of this. So, when I'm working with people, I think, it's really important for people to understand, that you have to protect yourself even more than before. So the more you get into the journey, the more you have to understand you're not making yourself more resilient, you're opening yourself up to more toxic people. And that becomes really, really important then to make sure you protect your energy. So, a lot of people say, well, how do you do that? Yeah, it's like moth to a flame vein. Absolutely. So you can do it in a very simple way. You could carry some of the black stones are great. I know that Jules does a lot with crystals. So Jules, if you want to just add, I know black tourmaline, obsidian, and there's another one, all very, very good for repelling negative energy. So you can always wear a crystal that helps you repel. But I always say to people, like, I remember when I was working with homeless kids, and somebody saying to me one day, about protecting yourself because, when you're working with kids, they're pretty needy. They drain your energy very quickly. So this person, Aboriginal person, had said to me, just imagine yourself putting on a giant condom. And I always stuck with me. And I watched somebody talk about this the other day on something on YouTube. And I was like, wow, I wasn't the only person who ever heard that. So it's about holding your energy close. So you can do a prayer to, whoever you talk to spiritually, whether that's Archangel Michael or your higher self, but you imagine, like someone putting a light across you just to hold your energy in. Once you get really, really good at that, what you can do is you can play with your own aura. So if I'm safe and comfortable, I'm quite happy to let my aura spread, and that's fine. Like, I'm here, I can't really have anybody that's going to come in and abuse me in this environment. So I'm quite happy to just sort of be really, really open with my aura. But if I go somewhere where there's a big crowd or there's a lot of people, I pull my aura right into myself. And I used to do it when I was on the train traveling. I would actually practice that because on the train, lots of people will talk to you if you're open. If you have an open energy, people will just come and talk. And I used to think sometimes on the train, I'd finished work, I had a very busy work life, and I'd come home sometimes and I'd think I don't want to talk to anybody, so I'd pull my aura in really close, and I got so used to understanding how to work with that energy. So now if I go anywhere where there's lots of people or lots of energy or things that are a little bit negative, I pull my aura in really, really close, and then people sort of steer clear of me. Then it's a bit like being invisible. I've got it worked out now. Yes, absolutely. Shungite. Shungite's good, apparently, Moira said. Using singing bowls. Okay, yeah. And Vane, I'll agree with you. I watched somebody the other day. I'd not watched her before. Somebody actually told me about her and said to me that they'd paid for a reading with a psychic, and the psychic had not refunded their money but never done a reading for them. And I was really curious to see what this person was like. And I went over to watch them, and their energy was very, very, I don't want to say, how do I explain it? The energy was very, for me, very uncomfortable, very prickly, and I didn't like it at all. And I think sometimes, you have to be really careful that if you're watching someone, you make sure that they resonate with you, that you feel good with them. If you're watching a reading, if you're with people, if you're out in a community, if you're mixing with people at work, you should never walk away from people feeling drained. Because if you walk away feeling drained, then that means they're sapping your energy. And who said moths to a flame here? Oh, like flies going towards the light. So when you're a high vibrator, if you've been in an energy of high vibrating, if you're full of love and ready to open up to people and you vibrate a little bit higher than others, there's a healing there for people. So they want to feel the healing. They feel that you can heal them. So they'll come into your energy and hope. I've even had someone say it to me. I went out with you because I thought you could heal me. No, stop it. So it's like people come towards you because they feel that energy and they feel somehow it's going to heal their own. But what they do is when they do come into your energy, they take it away. Celestine Prophecies talked, first book I ever read on vampirism, energy vampirism. So very true. They suck the energy out like succubuses. Or succubi, I'm not quite sure what's politically correct, but they can sap your energy in a very short time. And some people make you feel like that. Sometimes I've come home exhausted from something and you're like, I haven't even done anything and I'm exhausted. And other times I walk away totally exhilarated from people. So some of the people in my life do not sort of try to take energy off me, and I feel quite comfortable not taking energy off them. So you revitalize yourself. But some people, very low energy, and you will find that. So you need to make sure if it's hitting you like that vein, then you need to avoid those people. Don't watch them. Angels and crystal, very ego. Yeah, I get that, Queen of Water. I really do. Angels and crystals. The trick is protecting yourself from the negative without shutting out the positive people. I agree, Moira. And it is a bit of a talent. It really is. But the more awake you become, the more observing, you observe more. You sort of see more. And that makes a lot of difference. Once you start seeing people's true characters, you can step back from them. Tethering yourself. Oh, you probably do. Absolutely. How is a good way to bring in your aura? Sky, it takes a little bit of time. And as I said, I used to practice it on the train. So when I got on the train, I'd sort of feel for a moment. If your aura is open, you can feel yourself glowing. You really can. So what you do is you pull it in, so you cut back that glow and bring it really, really close to you. And then other people don't seem to want to come towards you so much. Otherwise, you just attract people. And I remember somebody saying to me once something about being a weird person magnet. And I didn't even know what they meant at the time. But after a while, I've started to understand that people like the energy. They come close to you because they want to feel energized by you. So, oh, a new guy. Oh, wow. Okay, that's really interesting. Actually, I've been watching a new guy who's really cool. Oh, what is his name? He's only just started out and he's really good, an English guy. I can't think of his name. I'll have to let you guys know because he's really good. That's why trolls don't affect you. And you start to see them, don't you? Fluorite's a really, really good one. Yes, it repels and protects. Good idea. Ah, I hope you've got your protection on, Caitlin, before you go into the shopping centre. Absolutely. Being not even true to yourself. Oh, beautiful, Inez. That's really lovely. I'm so glad you got to join us today. Yes, absolutely. And I think you get better at it. The more aware you become, the more open you become. Malachite's beautiful stone. It's a very good stone. So there you go. So you've got some tips there, guys. Malachite, fluorite, and shungite, all good stones, and selenite. Selenite, yes. I have selenite wand. But yeah, it's more about just learning how to protect your own energy. And as I said, the more spiritual you become, the more open and aware you become, the more you awaken, the more you leave yourself open to people absorbing or taking that energy away from you. You don't want to be doing that because, like, Vane said, like the energy, it's always like you walk away and you're so exhausted and you think, what have I done? I'm so tired today. So if you get in the habit of putting some protection on yourself every day before you even go out, maybe in the car going to work, that protection should pretty much last you all day. So if that's the case, sometimes you might have to top up. I know I've been to places where the drain is really, I found it very difficult and very emotional, and I might have to just top up my protection a couple of times during the day. Shopping centres I'm good with now, Queen of Water, but it took me a while to really understand that. Cleaning crystals, Stephanie, is different for all crystals. So you might have to just check. Some crystals need to go out in the sun and some like to be washed. So if you've got a crystal Bible or you've got a crystal book, then you'll be able to tell which crystals are best. But a lot of crystals like to be out in the moonlight. But you can put your crystals out on a full moon, but sometimes singing bowl is a good way to clean crystals. There you go. Put them out under the moon. Yep. Some like to be washed. So there are crystals that like to be washed too. So it's a good idea to do that. Otherwise they get dusty. I've just bought some new crystals too. I just bought some new ones. I'm a bit on a crystal journey at the moment, and I've just bought some new ones. So I go through the crystals and the tarot cards and whatever. Yeah, that's what I said. Some crystals are damaged by water. So just check which ones need to be washed and which ones need to be in the moonlight or whatever. Probably if you get yourself a crystal Bible, there is one called the Crystal Bible. I think it does have in there which way to treat your crystals. But they do like to be out in the moonlight. But you can have them inside in the moonlight too. You can just have your curtains open and let the energies come through to recharge them. Oh my goodness, Bumblebee Jasper. Okay, so I just fell in love with Bumblebee, right? I wanted to get some, and I had no idea it was so expensive here in Australia. And this woman in the States said to me, if you want one, I'll see if I can find one for you and send it to you, because I thought, here to buy a bit of Bumblebee, let me show you. Okay, where are we? That is Bumblebee Jasper. You see how big that is? But look at the colours in it. I fell in love with it totally. Isn't it gorgeous? It's stunning crystal. But that little piece there, $25. So when she showed me hers, she had a really nice sphere, probably about 5-6 centimetres deep. And she said in America it cost her $10. That was $25 or something plus postage. It's still a beautiful piece, don't get me wrong. I'm extremely happy with it, but I just fell in love with it. But this one here I bought too, which I think is stunning. Look at this. I can't really show you. I know the girl on television who does Lumiere or whatever, she always puts her hand behind them so you can see them more clearly. I want to show you the markings on the top of it. Whoops, I'm going around in circles here. See the markings? Isn't that beautiful? So that one was an agate, but it's just stunning. Stunning colours. So I do get them online, but wherever I go, sometimes I see, like this one here, somebody had a beautiful piece of Bumblebee. And so that's what made me go, wow, I would like a little bit of that. There's something about it that just evokes emotion in me, that little guy. But when I went online to buy it, I saw that one as well. Hang on, I'll show you the other one I got. I have so many crystals. I bought that one too. That's Unikite. And look at this one. Look at the red in this. That one I fell in love with. It's just beautiful, isn't it? Look at that. I love spheres. They are my favourite. I mean, I'm quite happy with the tumble stones, but sometimes when I see these, I think, wow, that is just so stunning. But the unakite here, I hadn't had any of that before, and I really wanted a piece of that. So I quite like the that sort of. I don't know what it's called, Rebecca. It's sort of got red in it, and the one that I picked actually was redder than this one, but I certainly was not unhappy with that. It's stunning. One of the people here might be able to tell me what that one's called. Hang on. That's not my biggest one. That's my third biggest one. But Jules said before about Jules, was it you who said about fluorite? Yeah, I don't know whether it could have garnet in it. I tell you what I'm loving. Oh, Jolie, how are you? I want some ruby fuchsite. That's my next thing. That's fluorite, yep. Ruby fuchsite. That's what I was actually after, but it's quite expensive too. Or ruby with fuchsite or something they call it. This is quite heavy. But I haven't got to that yet. So that's my next thing, to buy something like that. But I have just bought some dragonstone as well and some bloodstone because I didn't have any of that in my collection. Some of them I have in little tiny crystals, but yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it? It looks like earth. And I'm a big fan of jasper. I absolutely love jasper, so I have quite a lot of jasper. I just love the colours on it. So there you go. So that's what I've been doing at the moment. Pink tourmaline. It's very possible, Moira, that it could be something with pink tourmaline in it, because I learned a long time ago that some of those same crystals, like citrine, amethyst, and clear quartz, are all the same crystal. They're just at different stages of their evolution. Is that correct? That's what I think somebody had told me. So, yeah, so I've got pink tourmaline in a ring. Ah, there you go. Yeah, so there you go. So I think it's possible it could be one of those. But that particular one, they didn't say what sort of crystal it was. I bought it because I really loved the one they showed. And they didn't actually say what sort of crystal it was. So that wouldn't surprise me, because some of them do have like elements of different things in them. So like the ruby with the fuchsite with ruby in it, which is absolutely stunning. Have a look at ruby with fuchsite. It's just beautiful stone. Yeah, I as I said, I go through phases with crystals. I've got some amazing crystals there, and some amazing. I've got a lot of what do they call them? The ones that look like little caves. Ruby zoisite. Yes, I like that too. Yes, I saw the ruby zoisite when I was looking for the ruby fuchsite, and both of them are really beautiful. So I really have, oh, beautiful. Yeah, really nice. Garden edging. Is there anybody, because we've got this place called the Crystal Castle, which sort of sits on the border really between New South Wales and Queensland. I've been there quite a lot of times now. In fact, I take everybody there when I have a chance. Yeah, I have an amethyst crystal cave too. But up at the Crystal Castle, they have these huge amethyst caves, and I've got a picture of myself on the Facebook page standing between these caves, and they have a lot of. It's near Mullumbimby, yeah, near Mullumbimby, out that way. So top of Queensland, top of New South Wales, going into Queensland. it's you can buy a season ticket. You can pay for a whole year, and it's worth it because the first time I went, I just bought a ticket, and then I realised I would probably end up there 6 times that year. But the place is full of amethyst and rose quartz. And it was really funny because I took my brother and his wife, and then, probably not the most spiritual people, but I wanted to go, and I was like, come with me. And so they said, okay, we'll go. And I can't wait to travel either. I'm off as soon as the gates open. Anyway, we went to the Crystal Castle. My brother was like, wow, this place makes me feel really calm. I was like, that's really interesting when you're not so spiritual, how the stones really do affect you. So anyway, I've got to go. I've just realised I've got a meeting very shortly. It was, Moira, it's beautiful. It's the most peaceful because it's beautiful land as well around it. It's amazing. So Crystal Castle, I'm pretty sure it's Mullumbimby. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, guys. I'll see you next week. It's been great chatting today. I've really enjoyed the chat. I've been doing all the chatting, but I love you all.